All right. Happy Thursday. I had to think about that to see what day it was. I actually had to pause today and kind of figure out what day it was. It's Thursday, flow and meditate. So this class is a flow with a 15-minute meditation, and we're gonna kind of do a little in the beginning and a little bit in the end. Gonna sneak it in. What else do I want to tell you? I came to the studio because I needed a change of space, a change of scenery and space, right? I've been in my house and I needed to be in a space familiar, and hopefully this is bringing you some comfort and ease if you practice with us regularly. If not, welcome to the studio. So, other thing I want to say is if you have music and you like to practice with music, feel free to put some music on in the background. That always helps me. So with that, we will get started. So I'm going to ask you to either start lying down or seated, and we're going to start in meditation. So really, if you're not familiar with meditation and you just had a moment of panic and thought, why did I join? Really, it's just getting quiet. Right? It's noticing, it's coming into the body. It's noticing your thoughts. It's nothing complicated. So if you're lying down, legs are out long, arms by your side. Right? Let the weight of your body sink into the mat. Right, and if you're seated, then ground down into your sit bones. Like really feel your seat in the mat. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. It's so fun to see all these little people pop up. This is awesome. Soften the space between your eyes. Unhinge your jaw. Right? That just means stop clenching it, which I feel like I've been doing a lot more lately. Right? And together, take a full breath in and a long breath out. Yeah, do that again. Take a full breath in and a long breath out. And just settle. And come into your body. Notice your breath. And pay attention to the thoughts in your head. Right, the mind is designed to think. It's designed to plan. Right, so when you find yourself getting lost in those thoughts, I call it the rabbit hole, right? So when I start to go down the rabbit hole of thought, can you bring yourself back to the inhale and the exhale? It's really that simple and that complicated. Maybe this is the first time today that you've paid attention to your breath or your thoughts. Maybe it's the first time that you've come into stillness. if your mind drifts, come back. Maybe you notice a sensation in your body. Maybe you've been sitting more than you normally do, and so you feel some tightness. You notice that. Maybe you notice the sounds in your house. Right? Those things can be anchors, right, that keep us here in this moment. All too often, our so-called strength comes from fear, not love. Instead of having a strong back, many of us have a defended front shielding a weak spine. In other words, we walk around brittle and defensive, trying to conceal our lack of confidence. If we strengthen our back, metaphorically speaking, and develop a spine that's flexible but sturdy, then we can risk having a front that's soft and open. How can we give and accept care with strong back, soft front, compassion, moving past fear into a place of genuine tenderness? I believe it comes about when we can be truly transparent, seeing the world clearly and letting the world see into us. Start to deepen your breath. Start to bring some movement into your hands and your feet. And I think particularly in this time right now, it's easy to have so much fear, right? To be consumed by it. I know I have, and I have this armor up, and really what I need to do is soften and open up and show some compassion for myself and for others. Like we're all in this together. And it's the opening up of the heart, the softening of the front that allows us to be courageous and vulnerable as we all navigate this new existence. Hug the knees into the chest. Maybe you rock side to side, right? Massage the low back. And then you're going to make your way up to seated. Right, so you're up at the top of your mat. Your legs are crossed. Hands resting on the knees. Spine is long and strong. The crown of the head's reaching towards the top of the room, wherever that may be. Full breath in and a long breath out. Your next inhale, your arms are going to reach up overhead. Exhale, you're going to bend your elbows, come into cactus arms or goalpost arms. Really feel your shoulders roll onto your back, heart opens. Take a breath in, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, you bend the arms. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, you cactus the arms. Your shoulders fall away from your ears. Can you soften the space between your shoulder blades? Like soft front, strong back, wild open heart. Take a breath in, arms reach up overhead. This time on the exhale, the right hand comes down onto the ground and you're going to lean over towards the right. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, left hand comes down. Stretch over to the left. Be careful not to let that right shoulder cover your heart. Take a breath in, you come back, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, left hand comes to the outside of the right knee. Right fingertips touch down behind you and twist open. Right, and as you do this, you're grounding down into your seat. The spine is long. Inhale, you lengthen. Exhale, you open your heart towards the right a little bit more. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, you come back to center. Exhale, right hand to the outside of the left knee. Left fingertips touch down. Take a breath in and a breath out. Come back to center on an inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center and pause. Right, fingertips or thumbs rest on the heart space. Right, and notice. Notice the heartbeat, the life force. Take a breath in, arms reach up overhead. You're going to plant your hands in front of you and you're going to make your way to tabletop. So your shoulders are going to be stacked over your wrists, your hips are over your knees. The spine is long, crown of the head's reaching forward. Right, strong back. Take a breath in. You're going to drop the belly, tilt the heart up, come into cow pose. Exhale, you're going to round the spine, come into cat. Really push down through the hands, spread the fingertips wide. Take a breath in, drop the belly, lift the heart. Exhale, come into cat. Inhale, heart lifts, belly softens. Exhale, you round, right? Waking up that spine. Right? In order for our backs to be strong, they have to be supple. You have to build the muscles. Right? You're linking breath to movement. Maybe you look out over the right shoulder for a C curve, and then you come back to center, and then you look over the left shoulder. If we're just meeting, I drink a lot of coffee when I teach. Sometimes that's good for you, sometimes it's bad. Move through one more round of cat-cow, and then come into a neutral spine. Right, so your gaze is right at the top of your mat, right past your fingers. The spine is long. Take a breath in. You're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips, and make your way into downward facing dog. Right, so the hands are really strong. Yeah, press down really, really firmly into the mat. Shift the weight into the back of your body. Take a breath in. You're going to come up to your toes on an inhale. Exhale, heels are going to drop towards the right. Take a full breath in and a breath out. Next inhale, you come back to center. Exhale, you drop your heels over towards the left. Take a breath in. You come back to center with the toes, and this time you're going to bend the knees and hover your shins so that they're parallel to the mat. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, you're going to straighten the legs and let the heels sink towards the mat. You find yourself back in downward facing dog. So this is a good way to create some space in the low back. Take a breath in, glide forward to high plank. So in high plank, your shoulders are stacked over the wrist, the belly button's hugging into the spine, the thigh bones are reaching up towards the ceiling. So you want to take the sway out of the low back, like pretend that I could set my coffee cup back. Take a breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, you glide forward to high plank. And you breathe and you notice and you tell yourself that this is going to build a strong back. Right? Breathing into this is courageous. Take a breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. So another fun fact about me is I like to do things in threes, so that's just a heads up. Inhale, you glide forward to high plank. You pause here. And you notice your thoughts, right? It's our thoughts that create this shield around our heart. Can you soften those? Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. You're going to walk your hands back towards your feet so you end up at the back of your mat. You take your feet wide to the edges and come into a forward fold. You know, your hands can be on the mat or you can grab opposite elbows, come into ragdoll. Right, let gravity pull your head down towards the mat. Dumping the thoughts, dumping the fear, dumping the conversation. Take a breath in and a breath out. You're going to toe heel your feet back to hip bone distance. Inhale to a halfway lift so the spine is long. Crown of the head's reaching towards the front of the room. Exhale, you fold. Inhale, you're going to rise to standing. Your arms are going to reach up overhead. Your shoulders fall away from your ears. Exhale, you fold forward. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold. You're going to walk your hands back out to plank and you're going to pause. You know, sometimes when we get still is when we hear the voice of our heart. Maybe you're hearing the voice in your head saying, how long do we have to be in plank? I haven't forgotten about you, I promise. Take a breath in. Exhale, you lower down. So you can lower all the way down to the mat or you can drop to your knees and then lower down. Your choice. Inhale, the heart lifts to cobra. Exhale, you lower down. Inhale, the heart lifts. The hands are light. You use your core to lift yourself up. Exhale, you lower. One more. Inhale to cobra. Teeny tiny back arc bend. Exhale, you lower and you make your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in, you look forward, and you walk your feet to your hands. So that may be 100 steps, it may be 5 steps. However you get there is fine. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, you fold. Inhale, you rise to standing. Exhale, you fold. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you plant your hands. You step back to plank and pause. You take a breath in. Exhale, you lower down. Heart lifts on an inhale to cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in, you look forward, feet to the hands. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold. Inhale, you rise to standing. Exhale, you fold. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you plant your hands, you step back to plank, and you pause. And you notice. On your exhale, you're going to lower down. You're going to breathe into cobra on an inhale. Exhale, you make your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in. You look forward, feet to the hands. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold. Inhale, you rise to standing. Exhale, you fold. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you plant your hands. You step back to plank, and you pause. And you notice, and you breathe. You take a breath in. Exhale, you lower down. Heart lifts on an inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. And so that sequence of movements is going to show up again. Take your knees wide to the mat. Come into child's pose, so your hips are shifting back towards your heels. Your hands are reaching out in front of you. Forehead's on the mat. Right, this place, this child's pose is a place to come to rest at any point in the practice. You don't need my permission. I can't see you, so you're not going to offend me. Right? It's a place to come back to your breath. It's a place to come back to stillness. Right? It's a place to soften, to tap into that wild heart of who you are. It's a place to tell yourself that it's all going to be okay. Walk your fingertips forward. You tuck your toes, you lift your hips, and you make your way back to downward facing dog. On an inhale, you're going to lift the right leg in the air behind you. On an exhale, you're going to step the right foot in between your hands and you're going to drop the back knee to the mat. You're going to take a breath in. Your arms are going to reach up overhead, coming into Anjaneyasana. And on the exhale, you're going to bend the elbows, come into goalpost arms. Let the shoulders move down the back. Can you move your shoulder blades onto your back, opening up the heart? Take a breath in. Arms are going to reach up overhead. Exhale, your hands are going to come down to the mat. You're going to tuck the left toes. You're in a low lunge. So in the low lunge, the right knee is stacked over the right ankle. You're on the ball of the left foot. The spine is long and strong, and the crown of the head's reaching towards the front of the room. You're going to take a breath in, and on the exhale, the right foot's going to step back to meet the left. You're in high plank. Oh, here we are again. Take a breath in. Exhale, you lower down. Heart lifts on an inhale to cobra. Exhale, you make your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, the left leg's going to lift in the air behind you. On the exhale, you're going to step it in between your hands and you're going to drop the back knee. On an inhale, the arms are going to reach up, coming into Anjaneyasana. Exhale, bend the elbows, coming into goalpost arms. Right? We will return to sports for those of us who are sports fans. Inhale, the arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. You're going to tuck the back toes and you're in a low lunge. Right, so that right thigh bone's lifting up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in. Left foot steps back to meet the right. You're in high plank. Take a breath in. Exhale, lower to the mat. Heart lifts on an inhale to cobra. Exhale, you make your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in and the right leg lifts on an inhale. Exhale, you step it forward in between your hands. You drop the back knee. You rise to Anjaneyasana. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, bend the elbows. This time in Anjaneyasana, you're going to turn towards the right. Opening up the heart, letting the shoulder blades move down the back. Inhale, you come back to center. Arms reach up overhead. On the exhale, the hands come down to the mat. You come up to the back toes. You're in a low lunge. Left hand stays down. Right hand lifts up. Low lunge twist to the right. As you inhale, you lengthen the spine. And on the exhale, can you open the heart up a little bit more? Take a breath in. Exhale, right hand comes down. You step back to plank. Now you can move back to downward facing dog if you want, or you can lower down and move into cobra and then into downward facing dog. That's your choice. We made up in downward facing dog. You take a breath in. Left leg lifts in the air behind you. Exhale, you step it forward in between your hands. You drop the right knee. Arms reach up on an inhale, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, goalpost arms. Take a breath in. Exhale, you twist to the left. You notice. Take a breath in. You come back to center. Exhale, or inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. You come up to the right toes, right hand stays down, low lunge twist to the left arm reaches up overhead. You know, we are in such uncharted territory, and it takes being brave and having a wild heart and to be courageous to deal with all that we're facing, right? Take a breath in, left hand comes down to the mat, you step back to plank. You can lower down on the exhale. Inhale, heart lifts to cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right, but we can only have this wild heart if we soften in the front. We ask people, how can I help you? How can I support you? Even though we have to stand 6 feet apart and we can only be 10 people in a room, right? How do we build connection in a time of disconnect? From downward facing dog, right leg lifts in the air behind you. Exhale, you step it forward. Left knee drops. Anjaneyasana on the inhale. Exhale, you bend the elbows. Take a breath in. Exhale, you twist towards the right. You pause, you notice. Inhale, you come back to center and arms reach up overhead. Exhale, the hands come down to the mat. You come up to the left toes. Left hand stays down. Right hand lifts up. Low lunge twist towards the right. Take a breath in. Exhale, right hand comes down. You're in a low lunge. This time you're going to inhale and you're going to rise up to high crescent lunge. So the right knee is stacked over the right ankle. You're on the ball of the left foot, left thigh bones reaching up towards the ceiling. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears, open up across the heart. Take a breath in. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. You're in high plank. Maybe you jumped ahead of me, or maybe you're just hanging out in high plank. Take a breath in. Exhale, you lower down. Heart lifts on an inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Just as in this practice, you have choices, right? You have choices in what you do. We have choices in how we react. We can choose to have a soft heart, a wild heart. Take a breath in. Left leg lifts in the air behind you. Exhale, you step it forward. Right knee drops to the mat. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, bend the elbows. Take a breath in, and on the exhale, you're going to twist towards the left. And you come back to center on an inhale. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. You make your way to low lunge, so you come up to the toes of the right foot. Right hand stays down, left hand lifts up, low lunge twist. Take a breath in and a breath out. Exhale, the left hand comes down to the mat. Inhale, you rise to high crescent lunge. Arms reach up overhead. You can also bring them to heart center if this is a lot on your shoulders. I know for me, I carry all of my tension in my shoulders. So bringing them to heart center brings in some ease. Take a breath in, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. You step back to plank and you pause. Take 3 full rounds of breath, please. And on your third exhale, you'll lower down to the mat. Heart will lift on an inhale to cobra, and you'll make your way back to downward facing dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. Right leg's going to lift on an inhale. You know where we're going. We're just building on this sequence. So on the exhale, the right foot's going to step in between the hands. Left knee comes down to the mat. Arms reach up overhead on an inhale, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, you bend the elbows. Take a breath in. Twist towards the right. Maybe here you pause, and on the inhale, can you lengthen the spine, strengthen it, firm it up, and then exhale, can you twist and open the heart a little bit more? Take a breath in, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. You come up to the ball of the left toes. You're in a low lunge. Left hand stays down, right hand lifts up, low lunge twist. Right, and you notice here, right? You notice when you get pulled out of the moment. You notice when you start to put up that armor, when the thoughts take over, the fear takes over. Take a breath in. Exhale, right hand comes down to the mat. Inhale, you rise to high crescent lunge. This time on the exhale, you're going to spin the left foot down, open it up to warrior two. So in warrior two, you're bending into the right knee, the knee stacked over the right ankle. Let your shoulders soften. Right, there's this simultaneous pull between the front hand and the back hand. This is a strong pose. The heart's open. Right, we're heart warriors. That back edge of the left foot's really sealed down to the mat. And watch that right knee. It likes to lean in. Can you keep it tracking over the right pinky toe? You're going to flip the front palm and you're going to reach back, peaceful warrior. Exhale, you're going to cartwheel your hands to the mat. You can go back to downward facing dog, or you can lower down. Heart lifts to cobra. And exhale, you make your way back to downward facing dog, where, in my mind, we're all meeting up at the same time. It's a strange thing. You could stop and go get something to eat and come back. Take a breath in and a breath out. Left leg lifts in the air behind you. Exhale, you step it forward in between your hands. Back knee drops. Inhale, you rise to Anjaneyasana. Exhale, you bend the elbows. Take a breath in. Exhale, you turn towards the left. Right? And you notice here, where can you soften the front? Do you pull the belly button into the spine, giving your back strength so that you can soften your heart? Take a breath in. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. You come up to the toes of the right foot. Right hand stays down. Left hand comes up. Low lunge twist to the left. Take a breath in. Exhale, that left hand comes down to the mat. Inhale, you rise to high crescent lunge. So watch the right heel. Sometimes it likes to kick out to the right. Can you pull it back into center, right? The strength is in the center. It's in the core. We build strength there. We have a strong back, soft front. Heart's wild and courageous. Take a breath in. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, you spin the right foot down. Open it up, warrior two on this side. Right, and notice here, because it could feel different, and that's okay. Right? Different sides. Some sides are crankier than others. Don't overthink it. It just is. Keep bending into that left knee. You're going to flip the front palm. You're going to reach back, peaceful warrior. On the exhale, you're going to cartwheel your hands to the mat. You're going to step back to plank, and you'll pause. At your choice, you can go straight to downward facing dog, or you can lower down to the mat. The heart lifts to cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, your knees are going to go wide to the mat and you're going to drop into child's pose. And maybe you're thinking, oh, thank God, I thought we'd never go there. And here you come back to your breath. You come back to your body. You come back to your heart. In this time of social distancing and disconnecting, I think is a great time to open the heart, soften the heart, do the work of the heart. It's an opportunity to listen, to see what matters to us and how we can be of service to others. How can we connect when we can't be in the same room? Walk your fingertips forward. You're going to tuck your toes, lift your hips, and make your way back to downward facing dog. You're going to take a breath in and a breath out. Your next inhale, you're going to walk, step, or jump your feet to your hands. You're going to inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, you fold. Inhale, you rise to standing. On the exhale, you're going to bend the knees, sit the hips back, come into chair. So you're hugging the belly button into the spine. You're lifting the heart. Right? I tell my athletes, my football players, this is not a squat. This is not like you're dropping into a squat, right? It's like you're perching on the edge of a bar stool, right? To let the back side of your body take the weight. The toes are light, the heart's lifted. Right? The arms can be reaching up overhead, or they can come to heart center. Right? Each pose is an opportunity to soften, to start again, really. Take a breath in and a breath out. Your next exhale, you're going to fold forward. Heart lifts on an inhale. Exhale, you fold. Inhale, you rise to standing. Exhale, chair. Take a breath in. Hands are going to come to heart center. You're going to lean forward over your thighs on an inhale. Exhale, the left elbow is going to come to the outside of the right knee. You're going to twist open towards the right. Really press the palms together. It's going to help you roll the top shoulder onto the back. And guess what? Open your heart. Right? See, that what we practice becomes stronger. So the more we practice on our mat, opening our heart, the easier it gets out in the wilderness. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, you come back to center. Exhale, right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Take a breath in and a breath out. Your next exhale, you're going to fold forward. You're going to take your feet wide to the edges of the mat. Come into a forward fold. All right, so your arms, you can grab opposite elbows, come into ragdoll. You can reach your hands behind your back and clasp them. You want your palms to touch, so in order for that to happen for me, I have to bend my elbows. Your hands can rest on your back, or you can lift them. Getting a nice shoulder stretch and a heart opener. Maybe you bring some movement in. Right, and you notice, right, what shows up here? What's alive, what's present? Take a breath in and a breath out. Your fingertips are going to come down to the mat. You're going to bend into the left knee. Right hand's going to lift up overhead. You're going to twist. Take a breath in. Exhale, right hand comes down. Left hand lifts on an inhale. Exhale, left hand comes down to the mat. You're going to toe heel your feet back to hip distance. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold. Inhale, you rise to standing. Arms reach up overhead. Maybe you look up. Right? Lean back. Open the heart. Take Take a full breath in. Exhale, you fold forward. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold. You plant your hands, you step back to plank, and you pause. You're going to take a breath in, and on the exhale, you're going to lower halfway down. Inhale, you lift back up. Exhale, you lower halfway down. Inhale, you push back up. Exhale, you lower halfway down. Inhale, you push back up, and you push back to downward facing dog. Those, my friends, were push-ups. I snuck them in. Building the core builds a strong back. From downward facing dog, take a breath in, look forward, feet to the hands. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold. Inhale, you rise to standing. Exhale, your hands come to heart center. You're going to shift the weight into your left foot, and you're going to lift the right foot up in the air. So the knee is stacked over the ankle, the right foot is flexed. You're grounding down into the right foot, pulling up through the left thigh bone, belly button's hugging into the spine. You're going to cross the right ankle over the left knee, so you're making the number 4. And then you're going to bend your left knee, sit your hips back. You're in standing pigeon. You know, one of the things that I've noticed over the last several days is that, I've had this armor on, and I've got to do all of it, and I had all these expectations for myself about how I was going to work my 8-hour job and be a school teacher. I'm not a school teacher. I would have done that if I wanted to be a school teacher. And I just kept beating myself up, and I finally softened, right? I gave myself some grace. I think that's what having a wild heart and being courageous is about. It's giving ourselves permission. You're going to straighten the left leg on an inhale. The right leg's going to come off of the left thigh, and you're going to come into tree pose. So the sole of the right foot can be on the inside of the left calf, or it can come up to the inside of the left thigh, or your toes can be down on the mat. You're rooting down into your feet. Your arms can reach up overhead, or you can keep them at heart center, right? And you find something to focus on, something that's not moving. Right? My friend Heidi says that balance is not an innate thing, it's something that we have to practice. Just like we have to practice softening. Just like we have to practice having a wild heart, leaning into the vulnerability, the unknown. Take a breath in. Right foot comes down to the mat. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, you fold forward. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold, you plant your hands, you step back to plank. 0 to 3 push-ups, your choice. And then you'll make your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in and a breath out. You look forward, feet to the hands. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold. Inhale, you rise to standing. You're going to lift the left foot in the air, the left knee stacked over the right ankle. The left foot is flexed. You're going to cross it over the right thigh, making the number 4. You're going to bend the knee. You're going to sit the hips back, come into standing pigeon. And can you keep your heart open here? I like to think that when we come out of this, there's going to be so much love, right? So much wildness in people's hearts. Take a breath in and a breath out. We're going to straighten the right leg. Left foot's going to come off of the right thigh. You're going to come into tree, so the sole of the left foot comes to the inside of the right calf or the right thigh. Your toes can be down on the mat. Maybe you do something different with your hands this time. If you wobble, if you fall, you come back in. Much like life these days, this pose is fluid, right? Balance is constantly moving. Maybe you close your eyes. Maybe you come up to your right toes. Take a breath in and a breath out. The left foot's going to come off of the right leg and it's going to meet the right foot on the mat. Inhale, your arms are going to reach up overhead. Exhale, you fold. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold, you plant your hands, you step back to plank, and you pause. 0 to 3 push-ups. And then you make your way into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in and a breath out. You're going to look forward and you're going to walk your feet through your hands and you're going to come down to your back. You're going to hug your knees into your chest and you're going to rock side to side. Come back to center. And on the exhale, you're going to drop your knees over towards the right. Let your shoulder blades stay on the mat. Your arms can go out wall to wall, and you can look over your left shoulder. Take a breath in. You're going to come back to center. On the exhale, you're going to drop the knees over to the left. notice your thoughts, right? Maybe as it's starting to wind down, your mind starts to drift. You start thinking about what's next. What do you have to make for dinner? You need to do laundry. You need to do more work, right? Whatever that is. Can you just stay here in this moment, in this breath, in this body? Inhale, you're going to come back to center. The right knee is going to stay hugged in. The left leg's going to go out long. It's on the mat. You're going to take the left hand to the outside of the right knee, and you're going to cross the right knee over the body. Still keeping the shoulder blades on the mat. Take a breath in, you come back to center. The right leg goes out long, the left knee comes into the chest. You take the right hand to the outside of the left knee and you cross it over the body. Take a breath in and a breath out. Your next inhale, you're going to come back to center. Hug the knees into the chest. You're going to reach in between your thighs and grab the outside edges of your feet and come into happy baby. So in happy baby, the spine is long on the mat, tailbones reaching towards the front of your mat. Like you want to imagine your knees coming down to your elbows. They're not really going to get there. Maybe they will. But energetically, sometimes a visual helps. And maybe you rock side to side. Release the grip on your feet. Hug your knees into your chest. You're going to wrap your arms around your shins. Give yourself a hug. Pull your forehead up to your knees. Your legs are going to go straight up in the air. If you have a block at home, you can put the block at the base of your spine, your sacrum, or you can put your hands there. Sometimes I like to make a little nest with my hands. And your toes can point, they can flex. And you take a breath in and a breath out. notice. Your next exhale, the right foot's going to come down to the mat. The left foot's going to come down. The legs are going to go out long. The arms are going to reach up overhead. You do a full body stretch. And then your hands are going to come down by your side. Right foot's in the right corner of your mat. The left foot's in the left corner of your mat. Right, setting up for Shavasana, right, this final resting pose. Allowing the body and the mind to rest. There was a time in my practice where this was my least favorite pose. It is now my favorite, right? But it was so hard to rest. But in order to have a soft front and a courageous and wild heart, you have to let the body rest, the mind rest. And because I can't see you and you can't see me while you're in Shavasana, it may feel like I've abandoned you, but I'm still here. I'll pop in. But you just breathe and you just soak it in. And as you rest, maybe you notice you start to move into thinking. And don't judge yourself for that. It's what we do. But can you come back? Come back to the breath, come back to the body, come back to the moment. And can you do that with some compassion and grace for yourself? With a softness and an ease. And that's what meditation and mindfulness is. It's an awareness, it's a noticing. It's that simple and that complicated, right? It's an awareness and noticing of the things that pull us away from the moment, away from the now. All right, I get it. There's always going to be things. But that's the work, right? Is the coming back. It's the practice that makes us stronger. It's building the strength to have a soft front and a wild heart. And so when you drift into thought, you notice and then you come back to the breath. Where are you now? Maybe it's sensation that brings you back. Maybe it's sound. But come back. Is in the stillness that we receive, right? We receive the messages of our body, the voice of our heart. We receive rest and wisdom. Sometimes the things that we receive are not always pleasant. And then we have a choice. Right? But that choice is what teaches us. All too often, our so-called strength comes from fear, not love. Instead of having a strong back, many of us have a defended front shielding a weak spine. In other words, we walk around brittle and defensive. trying to conceal our lack of confidence. If we strengthen our backs, metaphorically speaking, and develop a spine that's flexible but sturdy, then we can risk having a front that's soft and open. How can we give and accept care with strong back, soft front compassion, moving past fear into a place of genuine tenderness? I believe it comes about when we can be truly transparent, seeing the world clearly, and letting the world see into us. Start to begin to notice your breath. Maybe you bring some movement into your fingers and your toes. And keeping your eyes closed, you're going to roll gently to your right side, and you're going to pause. And as you pause here, you notice what's alive. Notice where there's softness, where there's ease. And what feels strong and sturdy. And keeping your eyes closed, you're going to help yourself up to seated at the top of your mat, legs crossed. Together on an inhale, the arms are going to reach up overhead. Exhale, hands are going to come to heart center. Let the thumbs rest on the chest. Together, take a full breath in and a long breath out. Thank you so much for showing up, for being brave and courageous, and leaning into your wild, beautiful heart. The light and truth in me sees and honors that in each of you. Together we say, Namaste. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I'll be back here Saturday morning at 9:30.